Hello, my name is Jimmy and welcome to this 2022 Volvo XC40. I would like to first thank Morrey Auto Group, Morrey Volvo in particular, for lending me this vehicle so I'm able to experience the electric drivetrain from Volvo. If you're in the greater Vancouver area, do check them out. I'll leave their address right on the bottom of the description here. But the XC40 Recharge is essentially, well, the electric version of the XC40, right? It is priced higher, about $20,000 for the base versus the base. So if you're looking at this as a vehicle that will save me some money over time, then no, it's not what it's for. It's for someone that wants, well, more performance out of the vehicle first, because it has quite a bit more power, and well, they want it to be electric, and that's really what the XC40 is for. For 2022, the range has been extended as well. 223 miles, 360 kilometers through just software updates. If you have a 2021 model, you actually will get an over-the-air update to your vehicle to have, well, a little bit more range. It's actually pretty fascinating. You know, they're able to just tweak the software to give you, well, further distances on the drive that you may want to go on. And that's absolutely great. But let's talk about the styling first. The XC40 Recharge is very similar to the regular XC40 in terms of its looks. There really isn't a huge difference here. On the front end, of course, because there's no internal combustion engine, you don't need a grille, so it's blanked off. Personally, I don't mind the looks of it. It looks good from the front. I love the headlamps on basically all Volvo products. They all look great. On the side, we get these 20-inch wheels and this kind of panda color scheme with the black on white on black. As for the back, we get these beautiful tail lamps stretching from the top of the vehicle all the way down to the midsection. And like I said, just amazing and very, very pretty. The overall look of the XC40 is, I mean, it's always been a good looking car. And it's the same with all Volvos. It's very distinctive. They don't look out of place. And well, they just have this timeless design, which, I mean, if you look at the XC90, it's been looking the same for 6-7 years. Actually, yeah, 6-7 years. And it still looks great. And that, well, it's just going to stand the test of time, right? All Volvo products do look good, no matter what. If we open up the trunk, you get 14.6 cubic feet of space. It's actually decent for this size of vehicle. It's plenty for really what you need. And what I like is the mid and top trim models, there's this divider that you can prop up so you can put your grocery bags and, well, just divide up the trunk. Underneath is also where you can find your charging cables. But I wouldn't put the charging cables back there because if it's under the floor, they're harder to get to. I will actually put it in the front. There's 1.1 cubic feet, relatively small, but it's decent for your charging cables and whatever else you want to put in, maybe a small bag. But that's really what the front is for, and well, you have the ability to put your cables there. As for the back seats, I'm 5'11", I fit in here perfectly fine, really no issues. And if you're fitting car seats, no issues as well. As you can see, I got my Kleck Ling as well as my Foomph with absolutely no issues fitting both of these car seats within the vehicle. The lower anchors are really easy to get access to. I mean, just overall, the back seats is terrific for this size of vehicle. As for the front seats, well, they're very, very comfortable as well. They're not cooled, but they are heated. While they do look kind of thin because just the profile of them, they're actually more than supportive. And I mean, this feels like an IKEA chair. It actually feels pretty good. In front of me, pretty typical Volvo steering wheel. But behind that, it's a full digital display that isn't like any other Volvo product. This is brand new and it actually looks great. You can press a button on the steering wheel to hide the maps to go for a more simple view if you like. I mean, it shows me enough, I guess, for what I want. It's a very simple and very elegant design. I do like it. I don't have a heads-up display, but the main infotainment, that's completely different. This main infotainment system, while it looks very similar to basically any other Volvo product that you've seen, it's actually all based on Android. And because of that, you can say, "Hey Google, turn on my heated seats." But it takes a while.
Got it. Turning on the seat heater for the driver.
I mean, yeah, that took a little bit of time, but it's definitely better than basically any other kind of assistant that's built into the car, because most of those don't even understand what you're wanting to say or trying to do. This, quite a bit better. I do have some dedicated buttons below, so I can have my front, rear defrost, the forward, back, as well as play pause, and a volume knob here. I mean, that's typical Volvo. What's not typical Volvo is the shifter. Most Volvo shifters, you have to press it twice. This, you only have to press it once. And because it's an electric Volvo, There's no start-stop button. You just get in, put your foot on the brake, put in the drive, and you can get going. It's very different. Speaking of different, this is very different. XC40 comes with a garbage bin. I mean, I know people leave trash in their cars because I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. Integrated trash bin. This is so smart because you can just take it out, throw your trash away. You can leave the prestige interior nice and clean. This is clever. And speaking of clever, Volvo also put this little hook on the glove box here. So you can have this hook out for your groceries or purse, whatever it may be. When you don't need it, you can just flip it back and it's out of the way. And the entire interior is very, very clever. This platform, they maximize the interior space. I mean, the XC40 is, well, supposedly a compact vehicle to go against like the GLA, GLB, Q3, X2, and X1 from BMW. But those feel a lot smaller. This is enormous. I mean, this door card is huge. I can put water bottles in here. Like, oh, the material is recycled plastic as well. It's great. They thought of a lot of things within this vehicle to make it, well, sustainable. And that's really what it's about. Anyways, let's go for a drive because the XC40, well, driving it, this is actually quite surprising. And what's surprising is just the amount of power. 402 horsepower, 486 pound-feet of torque, which means 0 to 100 in under 5 seconds. Yep, it's quick. Most electric cars are pretty quick, and it's because of, well, the instant torque that you get, right? I mean, most people aren't going to be hammering the throttle every single opportunity that they get, but when you want to, you can. And it completely throws you back in your seat. And of course, it has one pedal driving, so you can just, if you need to stop, just take your foot off the throttle and it'll come to a complete stop. It's something that you have to get used to though. Not everyone will love one pedal driving, and luckily you can turn that feature on and off within the infotainment itself. Also, you can change the steering feel of the XC40 within the infotainment. There's regular as well as a firmer sport feel. I have it on regular, which personally I like a little bit more. The sport, I just feel like it's a little bit too heavy, but it doesn't increase like the feel of it. It's just a heavier wheel, which, I mean, really isn't helping anyone. Dynamically, well, the XC40 drives great. The batteries are nice and low down, so it's, typical EV goodness right here. But because it is heavier than the standard XC40, you do feel a little bit of that weight, especially over bumps. So, well, the suspension itself, it tries to kind of absorb everything that it can. But when a vehicle is heavier, the suspension just has to do a little bit more, and you definitely feel it. You definitely feel like it's not struggling. I'm not going to say it's struggling, but it definitely feels like it's having a harder time absorbing all the bumps that it needs to. So it feels a little bit more firm, it feels a little bit more sporty. Some people may like that, some people may not, so completely up to you. If you are going to be looking at an XC40, I would recommend that you actually take one and test drive it and see how it is on the routes that you normally would drive, just to see how comfortable it is. Because, I mean, it does matter, doesn't it? Overall, the XC40 Recharge is a pretty good vehicle. It's a very well-rounded EV. 360 kilometers of range is sufficient for a lot of people. And there's plenty of interior space for you as well as your family. There's really nothing to hate. Pricing, well, it's actually gone down a little bit as well. You can get into one for under $60,000. And even the base model gets the same powertrain. You do lose out on some panoramic sunroof and the nicer seats and heated seats in the rear and so forth. But if you don't need all that, you can step into one for about 60,000 Canadian dollars. This, as equipped with all the features and everything, is just shy of 80,000 Canadian dollars. I mean, you're buying technology, right? This is not just a commuter anymore. I mean, if you really were looking for a relatively inexpensive XC40, you wouldn't be looking at the Recharge. You'll be just buying the regular model because, it is significantly less than this. But that's really all I have to say. If you have any questions on the XC40, leave them in the comment section down below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Once again, I do want to thank Morrey Volvo for lending me this vehicle. It's been an absolute joy, it really has. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day, and we'll see you later. Take care.